Yeah, hi. We have with us today David Carter, who is the founder of Entelechy, and he's the founder of other organizations as well. Lots of experience and a lot of ups and downs in his life. So he's here to share with us his journey. So, David, what was your idea and intentions behind uh, this Entelechy, and what does your business actually do? Can you please elaborate?
I'd be delighted. So the company is called Entelechy Academy. Entelechy is a word that was created by Aristotle.
Mm-hmm.
And the entelechy of anything is the very best version of something with its full potential actualized. So the entelechy of an acorn is an oak tree. The entelechy of a caterpillar is a butterfly.
Yeah.
And the entelechy of you is the best version of you with all of your potential fully actualized.
Yes.
And what Entelechy Academy does is help learners develop their entelechy and become the best version of themselves by learning how to consciously deploy the 54 character qualities that underpin the development of all skills.
Wow. Wow, fantastic.
And we inquired what the soft skills are that employers want and need in applicants and their workforce that they don't have. And the original list that we put together from that research, which was over a 15-month period, was a combination of very frustrating and hilarious. The list was over 800 soft skills that employers said were lacking in applicants, but they included 300 skills that were things like Excel spreadsheet modeling and PowerPoint presentation making, which of course aren't soft skills at all, they're technical skills.
Yeah.
And so first of all, there's no common taxonomy when people are talking about these human skills, which is sorely missing and needed. So we've actually put that together over the last 2 years. And the second thing is that, I think my favorite one in that research project was the head of HR for a FTSE 100 company telling me that the biggest soft skill that that company lacked was Python programming. It's like, you really don't understand what you're talking about. So, and so employers have had this problem for many, many years. And HE and FE in the apprenticeship scheme have tried to solve the problem by creating courses in soft skills. But an example would be, a skill that employers are looking for is time management. And so you can send someone on a course and tell them what good time management is, what it looks like, but unless you're actually teaching someone how to become good at time management, and you're assessing the learning as opposed to the teaching, that it's never going to work. And so actually, there are 6 character qualities that underpin time management: accountable, responsible, organized, efficient, reliable, and disciplined. And so what on Entelechy Academy people learn is to become good at those 6 underlying character qualities, and they then don't need to go on a time management course. So all of the teaching, all of the assessment has been on what was taught, not what was learned. And what was taught was the doing skills, and it missed out the underlying being skills.
Wow.
And that's what the character qualities are. So our innovation is that we have codified these 54 character qualities, which underpin literally every skill that anyone would ever need. We've mapped those 54 against the 77 in-demand essential soft skills that are in demand by employers. And so like the example I just gave you with time management is like, okay, you want people to go to time management, but then they need to learn these 6 character qualities to underpin it. And what Entelechy Academy is all about is to help the learner become the best version of themselves, their Entelechy, by mastering and developing in context these 54 character qualities in the right combinations.
Well, that's interesting, David. Thank you for that. And can you tell us more about your backstory?
Yes, I'd be delighted. So I left school when I was 18. I went to a boys' state grammar school near Hampton Court Palace. For all sorts of reasons, I chose not to go to university, and went straight into the world of work. The first 10 years of my career was spent in private equity, venture capital, investment banking, and I worked in 7 countries around the world for more than a year. And what I learned, what the expertise that I developed was all around how come those 2 companies set up in the same town in the same year with access to the same resources, and 10 years later that one's 27 times bigger than the other one. What did they do or have that the other one didn't do? And that was always my fascination. So I became fascinated in leadership X factor, performance X factor. And at the end of 10 years of a very enjoyable career at the beginning of my career with in that VC world, and this was a long time ago. I'm 63 now, so this was a long time ago now. They didn't have all the specialisms that they have today: HR tech, insure tech, fintech, and every other tech. It was just people and money and projects. There was no series A, B, C, D, E. It was just, and so the great thing is we could be financing a railroad on Monday and an airline on Tuesday and an insurance company on a Wednesday and a chain of news agents on a Thursday and a ball bearing manufacturer on a Friday. So you learn lots and lots of things about business models and people. And I think there's been a red thread throughout my entire career that I've always wanted to help people develop their potential. And so after 10 years of doing that, I went off and did 2 startups in the UK hospitality industry that were both pioneering ideas at the time. The first one I built up and sold to a trade buyer. The second one I built up and floated on the AIM stock market in London. We were only the 16th company to ever float on AIM. There's now 15,000. So that was in the Wild West days of the launch of AIM. I had the thrill and joy and delight of being the best performing share on AIM, and I had the ignominy and shame of being the worst performing share on AIM, all in a 12-month period. So that was good fun. And towards the end of that time, I had a major tectonic plate shift in my own personal life, and I ended up being a single parent to a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. And juggling being a public company CEO and a good dad, I found difficult. So I decided to resign from the public company and focus on being a good dad. And whilst I was busy looking around for something to do, people came to me and said, "Oh, could you help me decide whether to float my business, raise money, change my board, develop a top team culture, or whatever?" And 15 years later, I had built up what eventually became the world's leading chief executive mentoring company, with offices in Sydney, Melbourne, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, London, New York, and San Francisco. And we mentored 40 FTSE 500 CEOs, 25 ASX 200 CEOs, a dozen Fortune 100 CEOs. And again, that was all about helping people become the best version of themselves and optimizing their potential. And then about 10 years ago, I realized that what we were doing with a small number of expensive fee-paying clients should be democratized and made available to anyone, anywhere, anytime, on any device. And So the first move after I resigned from that company, which is still going 10 years later with my name above the front door, was I wrote a book which became an international bestseller called Breakthrough, which was how to become the best version of yourself. I then started doing a lot of television work, radio work, speaking tours, book tours, and really speaking to my now audience, not in the boardroom and the C-suite, but on the shop floor and the factory floor. And Entelechy Academy is really my legacy project, but it really does bring everything together that I've ever done throughout my entire career. It benefits from all the things I've done, but it also is the legacy in the sense that it's the culmination of all of that work into a product that anyone, anywhere, anytime on any device can access. There's be a freemium and a premium version, but the intention is that there is now a tool that will help anyone, anywhere become the best version of themselves, their Entelechy, through developing those 54 character qualities that we talked about earlier, which underpin the development of all skills.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. I think, being best version of myself is something that every person would like to do. Every employer would like every employee to be the best version of themselves. And it's an area which is completely ignored or untouched, if I would say so.
And very simply, if you ask an employer which of these 54 character qualities would you like your employees to improve, they say all of them. If you ask the employees which ones of these do you think if you improved it would help you in your life and your career, they say all of them. And so the point is, before now, no one's ever codified that character is going to determine your destiny.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wherever you end up in life is your choice. And that choice is a function of your character. Yeah. And I'm sure as we go through this interview, my life hasn't been a straight line. There's been lots of ups and downs. But as my mother used to teach me, failure isn't falling down, failure is staying down. And you actually learn much more in those difficult, challenging, turbulent times than you ever do in ascendancy. And so I'm very grateful for all of the difficult challenges I've had in my life, because I think, that old saying, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Yeah. So what was your biggest challenge, if I may ask so?
Biggest challenge. I think probably the biggest challenge, not that it was a challenge anymore, it was just like hard work, was actually wanting to be the best version of myself as a parent. I ended up with 2 young children, 7 and 3, and I wanted to be the best version of myself, the Entelechy of me as a dad. That was probably the biggest challenge, and at the same time managing and juggling, building a business, writing a book and doing all those other things. And
yeah, and you said you resigned from that public company. It must be very hard for you to come out of that. And of course it's a very proud decision for any dad to be doing that. But what was going through your mind when you resigned from a public company?
My mind was very clear that my 2 little children needed someone to look after them because of this tectonic plate shift that had happened in all of our lives. And that was my only priority, was to look after my children properly. And obviously I needed to earn money and have a job, but I would have happily earned less money and spent more time with my children being a good dad than earning more money to spend on my children.
All right.
I think one of the very interesting things that's happened in the last 2 years in lockdown is the number of people I've heard who ended up homeschooling their children and then decided that they actually really liked their children and spending time with their children, and their children's education was better. And I've heard lots of people who've taken their children out of private school and are homeschooling them. And, you know, the £90,000 a year they save on paying the school fees is, so I think that maybe we'll talk about this later, but I think that, you know, I really do believe that your character determines your destiny. And at the end of the day, karma works. What you put in, you get out. You know, the more effort you put in, the more reward you get at the end. And so success is only ever a function of the effort you put in. And so, you know, I wouldn't say that any one particular thing has been challenging, but I think it is, I've always challenged myself to up my game, dig deeper, try harder, keep going for longer. You know, if you keep going long enough, the competition just get tired and fall away. And so the challenge has been, how do I be the best version of myself every day in every way that I can think of?
Right. Yeah, that's very interesting, and I think a learning experience for me as well. You know, how, you know, you have changed your path to be the best version of yourself. And I must say, you know, it was a bold decision to take, to come out, because many people would probably think but not be able to do it, even if they think, you know, that's the right thing to do, because they find, well, if I leave work, what's going to happen? And, you know, how I'm going to survive, how I'm going to earn money, and mainly what, you know, people are going to say, why you quit, you know? So really, you know, interesting to hear that, you know, you took that decision and you could find yourself even after that.
There's a lot more important things in life than making money. So
absolutely it is. But, you know, as I said, you know, people understand, but they're not bold enough to take the decisions, you know, even though, you know, people know money is not everything.
Maybe they would be able to make that decision if they learned to develop their character.
Absolutely. So tell us more about your book, by the way, because is that something that you wrote after you came out of the public company and you were at home with kids?
One of my good friends and mentors is a gentleman called Matthew Kelly. He's Australian. He's written 19 books that have sold more than 1 million copies, and one of his books has sold 19 million copies. And he badgered me for years and years and years to write a book. And about 10 or 11 years ago, I had a major operation in my neck, which put me on the sofa for 5 or 6 weeks. And after 3 or 4 days, I had a Skype call with him, and I was already got cabin fever and bored. And he said, "Why didn't you write that bloody book now, mate?" So he's been nagging me for years to write. So unable to leave the house or get off the sofa, I actually thought, yeah, why not? So I started writing the book, and 12 days later, I'd written 120,000 words. I took the 13th day off, and 14th day I read it all, and I thought, actually, there's a book in here. And then spent another few days tidying up, and then I sent it to a friend of mine in Australia who used to be a personal development book editor, and she got excited and said she could help edit it with me. So within a month or so, we'd actually got a book, and Matthew introduced me to the publisher that he works with. It got published by a big world. So actually, when people said, "Oh, how long did it take you to write your book?" my answer was always 50 years. How long did it take to type it? 4 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
but I love, I mean, it was 10 years ago now. There's hardly a week goes by without I don't get an email from some weird, wonderful place in the world where someone's bought my book and read it, and they write and tell me the breakthrough that they've had from reading it. And it's just lovely collecting all these. I think I've had replies from 138 or 139 countries now. It's amazing. So
wow, I'm excited to get a copy of that book myself. I think it's 50 years of your experience, all bundled in that book, I guess.
yeah, the ups and the downs and the sideways.
Yeah. So in your corporate journey, what do you think were the ingredients for companies, to retain and grow their customers? What do you think would be the key areas that our audience can learn or focus to retain and grow their customers?
Sorry, to gain and retain their customers.
Yeah.
Is that your question? Yeah. Well, I've had a curse of my career, and that curse is every business I've ever come up with didn't exist before I came up with it. It was always a new concept as well as a new business.
Wow.
Which everyone thinks is great, but actually there's a drawback, and that is that when you try and sell something new to people, their brain is like a set of pigeonholes, and they're trying to put everything into an existing pigeonhole in their brain. Oh, it's like this. No, it's not like that. It's completely different. Oh, it's like that. And eventually they go, oh, actually, this is new and different. I've never heard of this or seen this before.
Yeah.
And so eventually they get the new concept. And then you have to sell that new concept. Well, who's your competition? Well, we haven't got any competition. That's why it's a brand new concept. And actually, people don't like not having a competition at a comparable price. So I think that my career is perhaps not a great example. I mean, I think it's no more complicated than find something that people really need.
Yeah.
Need, not want, because wants can come and go, like the weather. But they really need that will make a difference to them. In my book, one of the chapters is called Being in the Zone, and that is for everyone in life to find something that they're really good at, that is needed and in demand, that pays the bills and makes a difference. And at the end of the day, I think you've got to find something that people really want and need, and that will make a difference in their life, and that you're passionate about, you can deliver in a unique way. Yeah. But ultimately, at the end of all of that, all those ingredients, you just got to keep going. Launching a business is really hard work. And the reason that 19 out of 20 new businesses fail is because they run out of cash. But they run out of cash, I think, often because they did the wrong things, applied the wrong energy in the wrong places, or it was just a rubbish idea in the first place. It was I wanted to do this, and I thought it was a good idea. I managed to get some seed funding together and persuaded other people, but actually it wasn't a good idea. There was no market, there was no need. It wasn't making a difference. It wasn't sustainable. So,
and many times it's not just the idea which is wrong, but it's sometimes the execution of that idea. So maybe the idea is great, but execution is poor, and maybe people have.
Would you rather have a B strategy and an A team, or an A strategy and a B team?
Yeah, you would probably prefer a better team.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, the quality of the idea is important, but the quality of the team to execute it is a lot more important.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. So execution.
There's a huge graveyard of brilliant ideas that are buried under the sea, because they weren't led by someone who could put a team together to execute them. And there's plenty of businesses that are alive today that have now got an A team leading them, but they had a product that was in demand, after the war or something like that, that people had to buy or needed to buy. But actually, the sustainable businesses that grow and grow and grow, you end up where you've got to have an A strategy and an A team, but most businesses focused on the strategy, not the team.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Hi there. I just wanted to share with you all why London School of Digital Business is doing this great people interview series. Well, for the last few years, small and medium businesses have been facing lots of challenges. Individuals have been wondering what's going to happen to their careers because of these emerging trends and technologies, artificial intelligence, VR, AR. What's going to happen? It feels as if the world is changing. And then COVID hit, and there is a lot of depression in the minds of people. So we thought we need to bring in some positivity, bring in some motivation and inspiration. And it's all good to know these stories of, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. But we wanted to talk about the extraordinary stories of the people that you get to see in the ordinary world. They are no way ordinary people. They are great people, but they are the ones you can relate to. Hence, we thought this is something that we want to bring in to increase the chances of success for many, motivate them, give them the insights. And I'm so happy to share that every leader has shared completely unique and different insights because their situations have been different. Somebody was alone, and we know that entrepreneurs are alone at the top and how it feels, and they fought their challenges. Somebody had partnership, business partners, and somebody could not survive the business partnership, so they had to rebuild themselves. Somebody thought, well, I could have done this differently if I was to go back in time. So every insight is so unique. I must thank all the people who shared their journeys, and I'm sure this will help you all succeed in life, increase the chances of your success, as well as reach there faster, and of course, achieve happiness in life. Thank you for listening. That's interesting. To go on the lighter side of the conversation, let's have some, rapid fire questions. One word or one small sentence answers. What would you like to do over a weekend?
I live in the countryside, and so I like to be in nature and walk. And so I've got a dog. I'm training her to be a gun dog, and so we go to classes on Sundays. And I like to cook and entertain friends and have interesting people around the dinner table and have interesting conversations. I like my children to come and stay at the weekends and friends to come and stay and cook and talk and walk, and wow, occasionally watch my silly football team, although they're not right, silly this year. They're top of the championship.
So you like football then?
I've been a Fulham supporter for probably 55 years, and we're top of the championship this year, so that's all good. So
right. And what's your favorite holiday destination?
The Isles of Scilly, which are 28 miles west of Land's End, which I wish I hadn't answered that question, because now loads of people listening to this will go and visit it. It's paradise. It's the most beautiful beaches, clean and clear water, clear night skies. It's perfect, peaceful. It's an amazing place.
Thank you. Thank you so much. On the conclusive part of the interview, the first question is, if you were to go back in time, tell us one thing that you would have done differently.
There's lots of things that I've done in my life which didn't work out. I think, I had a rebound marriage that didn't work out. There's been a business failure. There's been other things in my life that haven't worked out how I would have liked. But I don't regret going through any one of those experiences because I learned so much. I think, anything that doesn't work out is an opportunity to learn and grow and become a better version of yourself. And so I don't think there's anything in my life I would do differently.
Wow. That's great to hear. And, what a self-exploration and realization it is. Yeah, I think, it's always learning and growing, why look back and regret? I like that approach. Thank you. And the last one.
I've never met anyone at the end of their life who said, I wish I'd spent more time at the office.
Yes, I'm sure about that as well.
So actually, I'm sorry to be cheeky, but I don't regret anything in the past.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. It hasn't always worked out how I wanted to, but it's been a great learning opportunity. But I think actually I want to be much more mindful in the future, because I could very easily be a workaholic. Now my children are both grown up and left home. I haven't replaced the time that I perhaps devoted to them with activities for myself, and I probably become a complete workaholic most of the time. And so I think I want to be much more mindful in the future. I don't want to wake up in 10 years' time and say, I regret not having more holidays or spending more time with my friends or walking the dog more and things that I like doing. So I think I need to be much more mindful about not being regretful in the next 10 years, because I don't regret anything that's happened in the last 60.
Wow, thank you. And the last question is, what would be your advice to the audience who are students, small business people, or entrepreneurs who are just starting their journeys?
Find something that you're absolutely brilliant at. Find something that you're absolutely passionate about. Find something that pays the bills, and most importantly, that makes a difference, and understand that, the intersection of those four things is where your sweet spot is. Find that and understand that even after you've found it, it's only ever going to be hard work and perseverance which will turn that into something that you are proud of.
Fantastic. With that, let me thank you again for your time and presence, and your speech has been really inspirational. Your journey has been motivational to our audience as well as me. Thanks again for your time. And David, we'll catch up again.
Thank you. And I wish you and all of your students well. And remember, your character will determine your destiny. And I think that it's something that at the London School of Digital Business could make a differentiator in your course offering by ensuring that people not just walk out with the digital business skills they need, but also the personality and character skills they're going to need to survive and thrive in life.
I definitely agree with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.